Hello folks, this is Karim Rauf from IT Visualizer channel. Today we will continue this is the 10th lab. Okay, we will continue what we finished before in the in the previous video, which was working with the Active Directory Right Management Service. Okay, so here this is part 2. So here we will see how, after finishing all the configuration and the setting, how this will be working or effectively working. We will see an example, okay, on a document, and how we will put the Active Directory Right Management Service on it, rights, implement the policy that we did before in the previous video. It was blocking or preventing the print, so we will see if the user will be able to print or not. This we will see it, and today also we will continue on this video or begin the working with the DAC rules, dynamic access control rules. This is rules, it's like the NTFS permissions or the share permissions. Actually it's considered a second layer or third layer of security. Actually what it does, that you get the benefit of using the Active Directory attributes, which mean, for example, if the user have the title or have the department, for example, have title of GM, for example, or title of of the department of, for example, any department, so you can put this or use these attributes to enable or block access to certain files or folders. Okay, so for example, if I have a folder named classified, for example, I need only the GMs with the title of the Active Directory from the properties of the user in the Active Directory. If he have the title of GM or top level management, he can access this folder, even if I put him in a group. Okay, for example, if I put him in a different group, but actually the this is more restrictive. Okay, so it works side by side with the NTFS permissions and the share permission. We'll see that live when we configure the DAC rules and see how this will be done. But actually these rules benefit mostly from the Active Directory attributes. Title and any attribute in the Active Directory can be used to specify or to restrict access to folders. Okay, actually the most famous examples are the title, the department. We will see that. We will do some DAC rules, so when we begin it practically, it will be more clarified. So let's begin. Before we will continue what we stopped from the previous lab, here we will, as I said before, the Active Directory Right Management Service works with emails. Okay, so it controls or identifies the user of the Active Directory by his email. Okay, so if you don't have an email, as I said before, you can just put the username and at your domain. For example, I have here transformers.local and my user was KRAOF, so my email or it will be put in my for example the syntax, or not the syntax, the email or the local email. It's not an email, actually it's a form of email. We will put the email as KRAOF at transformers.local. This the Active Directory Right Management Service accepts it. And this another trick, you can just select all users and put this variable username between percentage at transformers.local. See, he will take the username from every user and put it instead of percentage username percentage. You will see that in a moment. And I need to say something here before also completing the lab. In using Active Directory Right Management Service, there is some best practice. So if someone needs to implement it in a production environment, he needs to see the Active Directory Right Management Service best practice from Microsoft. For example, if you are using it in a production environment, it's better to set up it on a SQL database when we're doing the configuration, he asks if you have a SQL or you will use a Windows internal database. Normally, because we are in the lab, so we'll use the Windows internal database. But as a best practice, you need to uh, implement it on a SQL database. Okay, this is one. So if you want to do this in a production environment, you need to go to best practice as a reference guide. Okay, this is one. And another thing, maybe the Active Directory Right Management Service wasn't clear enough. So let me show you an example. If you open a Word, this is also, let me show you a description that will clarify what is an Active Directory Right Management Service. Okay, here you go. Sorry, this wasn't what I was talking about. I need to. What is Active Directory Right Management Service? Just a minute. Yes, here is the overview. So mainly, here is the description. It says that allows individual administrators through IRM policy, through a policy like similar to a group policy. If you saw the previous lab, we have created a policy called prevent the printing to a certain document and push it to the clients. Okay, he says through policies to protect documents, workbooks, and presentation. Mainly documents, he means Word, Excel, okay, and PowerPoint presentations. Okay, this is done through the Active Directory Management Service and through a policy. So you have to create a policy and push it to the client so it can be implemented. For example, if we need to see how this is done, we will open a Word document. For example, here is a document, and then we'll tell him file, and then if you want to in the info, here is something called protect document, and here is restrict access. Here, connect to right management servers and templates. Here he will connect to our server that we did before in the previous lab, and if he see any templates or any policies, for example the prevent print that we did before, so here if we choose this template, so this document, and after the policy we did that we have restricted a certain group not to print. So if we choose this template, so this group will not be able to print this Word document, okay, or any document that I use this option on. Okay, so it's simply, I think it's now clear. So now let's return back to the lab. We'll connect again. Sorry, I'll open the video again with full screen. So here, yes, I'm trying to put, for example, if you need to block a certain group from using for example, a Word document, so you can then use this group and its email to block a certain access to a certain document, but you need to change every user in this group and give it the group email. For example, if TR Advances, this is a group, contains some users, we will have the email as TR_ advance users at transformers.local. So here every user in this group will have to have this email in its properties, okay, or its user property. So I have created, or I have put emails in both the users properties and for the groups. So if you want either of them to use, you can use the group email or to use the user email. So basically the Active Directory Advanced Right Management is something like a protection to documents. But with integration with the Active Directory through identifying the users with their email. If you have an Exchange server or working with Office 365, this will be also better and better. But here in our lab we don't have an exchange, so we are working with a local domain. So all of the emails will be a local email, not a local email, local username, which is acting like an email. So now what I'm just doing, I'm just now putting email to every group. So if I need in the future to make any policy or any Active Directory Right Management Service policy, I can use these emails. So I can just pick it fast forward because I am doing it one by one, all of the groups. So now here, after finishing, we now want to implement this Active Directory Right Management Service. So here we will go to a Word document, and then, as I said before, we will open a blank document and then go to the info. It's in the info, and tell him to protect the document, and then restrict access, and then connect. We now connect to the Active Directory Right Management Service. He will ask about the username and the password. You can put the username and the password of any user. If you have an Active Directory user, for example, put your username and password so you can able to retrieve. This is thus just an authentication process, so we can know that you have an Active Directory user. And actually, we will check your email to see if you are restricted or not. So here we will go, and I'm just checking my username and password. It will take some time. So now I put my password, okay. And this is also to any username, as I said before. I think you will not, because I thought I don't have an email. I think I put my email. Yes, I don't have an. So you have to have an email so he can recognize you. Not only you have to have a user Active Directory, you have to have a valid email address. So I need to go and put. That's good that it appears so everyone can see what is the process. You need to have an email. So as I said before, you can put percentage username percentage at transformers.local. He will change this variable to take your username, which is KRAUF at, yes, here you see. And actually any user has to put his credentials, okay, to access the server and get the policy. So for example, if you are a user, and this can use a previous, or you can work with templates, or if you don't have templates, you can open a document and do whatever setting you like, and then do whatever editing you like, and then at the end tell him to restrict. So he will make a restriction for you for the document, even if you don't have a template. If, for example, if you want to restrict read and write, as you wish, he will give you a dialog or give you a box, and okay, now I have unrestricted access. Now I have, and then the print. Okay, the print is, so I will not use the prevent policy that I did. I will do a new one. Here he tells you permission to document. This is normal one. Okay, the read and the change. For example, if you need some users to change a document or read a document, you can specify them through the email, as I said. Okay, prevent, here the prevent print, I will not use it. I want to make a new restriction. I don't want to use a template. As we said before, this template is to prevent the tr_cl group to print this document. the cleaning group, the transformers cleaning users, not be able to print this document. But for example, if I don't need to use templates, I need to make my own restrictions without using a template, so I can do this through the following. I will show you in a minute. I can just open the document and tell him restrict access. He will get a dialog which users you want them to read or change. You can specify them, and there is more options. You can do more restrictions, read and write, view. You will see that read, write, view, print. You can use more options. Mainly the basic options is to change and read, but if you want more options, when you open the restrict access, okay, this one here, you have the read and change. If you click more options, you will have more options like view, edit, extract. Just a moment. For here, I'm example restricting this user. I need this user to have a read access. Okay, I then need the change to another user. So here, this user will have a read access, and assume this is another user to have change access. Okay, and if I click more options here, you will have a lot of options, and here is the users you can add and tell him which user. For example, I am the admin, or I have full control. The two users have change and read. You can allow users to read, access to copy, to print a document, to anything. Right now it is okay, it is restricted. I have restrict access, and when I save the document, now it is restricted, so certain users can change and read. And any options you like, you save it, put it on a shell folder, for example, then it is there, and it is restricted, and it is protected. So this is basically the Active Directory Right Management Service. It's good to protect documents and to give more restrictions with the NTFS permissions, and this is on the document level or on the file level. You can protect the documents, of course, on the folder level, and then this is more restriction on the file level. So now we have a protected document. I will see in part 3, I will do another part, the third part, and we'll begin implementing this on a workstation. We will join it to the domain, and then we will try to open this document with different users to see different rights or access rights. So now we have not finished, actually. I said there is a third part when we will implement or more detailed to see how the Active Directory Management Service will work. So now we'll leave this for a moment, and we'll begin working with the DAC rules, how it is set up or configured, and how to use it. As I said before, this will be working in conjunction with the share permissions and NTFS permissions. And actually, a question here arises: if you have share permissions, NTFS permissions, and DAC rules, which one will work if they are working in conjunction? The more restrictive. Okay, the more restrictive will work. For example, if you have share permission for read, and have NTFS permission for write, and have DAC rule for read and write. So the one that will win or win this situation will be the read. Okay, the least restrictive one. So now I think what I'm doing, let's see, I think I am, yes, now we will begin working with the DAC rules first to support or to enable this on a domain level. You have to open, sorry, just for a minute, we'll pause this. To work with the DAC rules, you have to enable two options in the Active Directory, and actually this is only enabled on the server file server role. Okay, this need to be on the server file server role. So we will work with the domain controllers. Okay, so I think this is on the, yes, domain control have to be done on the domain control and the file server role. Okay, so there is a policy called domain controllers policy. So we will open this and enable the following options: KDC support for claims, compound authentication, and Kerberos armoring. Okay, this will be enabled for the DAC rule to work. Okay, and after that we implement this option or enable it. We have to make a group policy update. So I'm just making gp update /force. This is a command line to make the group policy work. So now we have enabled the group policy. We will begin working with the DAC rules. So where to get the DAC rules from, or how to create the DAC rules from, you have to create it from tools, then Active Directory Administrative. This is a tool, a different tool. It's called Administrative Center, Active Directory Administrative Center. Okay, maybe there is some, or there is many steps, but we will take it one by one. So here we have opened the Active Directory Administrative Center. We will open, yes, here is the dynamic access control. We'll just pin it to the taskbar so we can all access it later. Okay, so here we have a couple of things. First is the claim type. Claim type, this means how I will work. I will work with the title, as I said before, and I work with the attribute from the Active Directory that I will use. So for example, I will use the title and the department and the location. Okay, as we see now here, for example, here is all of the attributes of the Active Directory. There is, I will use the title, first the department, this is the first one. I will click OK, and then I will make a new one, or select a new attribute from the Active Directory. Here I need the title, the job first, or the job title. The title, it's title only, not the job title. So here is the title. Okay, every attribute, it's some for the users and some for the computers. For example, if we see here the location, you will see that on the right hand side the division is still, yes, this is still a user attribute. If for example we choose the location, it will, on the right hand side you will see that computer is clicked. So that means that is a computer attribute. So as I said before, I did all of my computers with the location attribute to be there, so I can use it later in the DAC rules, or use it now. Okay, so we have here all of the attributes. It's the claim type, all of them are created. This is the first thing. Okay, the first step is to go to the claim types and create how your DAC rules, or what is the attributes that your DAC rules will use. So here we go after that to the resource properties. Okay, here the attributes, we will enable it in the Active Directory. It is disabled. We need to do it first claim type and then enable. We will, as I said before, the claim type, this is the way we will our DAC rules will be used, and then we enable the property itself to be used. The department is there. Okay, So here there is a list of values for the departments. This is the attributes of the Active Directory that is there already. If you need to add more departments or more values, you can tell him add. For example, here we don't have an IT department, it's information technology. If you need to add it as an IT abbreviation, so you can tell him add and then add an IT. Here, for example, I have my users text Excel sheet. Here it contains all of the departments. So I will add, there is some values I need to add. For example, here I have the IT department. I need to add this value to the department. So here I will add it. There is an information technology, but I needed to add as an abbreviation IT. Okay, and put the description. So now we have added. Then I have engineering, for example. Engineering is there, by the way, so I don't need to add it. I will add security department. You can add any values you like. Here we can add it. Okay, and security and security. I think we have about, yes, medical department. Okay, we have add and then add department and department. You can add any departments you like. For example, here all of my users, I have the department section filled. So when I use my DAC rules, it will reverse or revert to this attribute to see how the DAC rule, or to begin implementing the DAC rule. So I think it can just make it a little bit faster. I will take all of the departments. This should be clear now. Okay, all of them. Okay, so now this is the last one. This is for the departments. Here we have the department, but we have three others like location and title and division. All of this is not there. Only department is there. So we will create, okay, in the resource properties, a new one called title. It's a single value. I mean, it means that you have only one value to be added. Okay. So here there is no values. It only single. I mean, if you have multiple, for example, if you need to have a selection 2 values, so you can change from single value to multiple value. But here I need only single value. The title is 1. Okay. So here we have the titles also. I have a lot of titles there. For example, I have, this is the IT bot, for example. Here I have two titles. One, as for the IT, I have the IT as a robot and then the IT as a drone. Okay, it is IT bot. Okay, so this is the personnel or the machine or the robot, and then we will have engineer bot. For example, every department have robot in its location, or let's say transformer is its location. So we will add values now, IT and then engineer bot, and then we will continue working with this one, but we need to make it fast forward. So here now, before that, let me give you a little. So now we have two things, as I said before. We have, in every department there is a robot and there is a drone. Okay, so here I have added all of the bots or all of the robots. Okay, the last one is for the housekeeping. You can just revise or check the Excel sheet and see how much titles I have. So here we'll begin working with the drones, engineering drone and then IT drone. Okay, this is the values. I just make it fast forward also. So now we think we have the drones. Okay, ship bots. So now we have finished the titles. Okay, here so here we have finished the title. We have created a resource property and we called it title and we have the department before, then we will create a resource property called division, and then we will put the divisions. So now let me here say it. I think this is the last one. No, I think I have cheap bots. Construction. Okay, so now this is the end of the title. They will begin working with the division. The division, as I said, it is the type. We have here Autobots and Decepticons. There is a lot of type of robots, so type of transformers. So here we'll make a new property resource. Just we can get back a little bit further. Okay, we'll see now. I will close this value. So we'll make another resource property. So for every claim there is a resource property. So we have the department and then the title. Then we'll make for the division. It's also a single value. We will go to the Excel sheet, and as I said before, this is already in the Excel sheet. When I created the users or make the users, I put the division and the title and the department for future using it with the DAC rules. So here also we will add the type of robots. Okay, this Autobots. Okay, here we'll put division of the user. Okay, we will add all of them. This is also a repeated step, so I'm just going to fast forward it. Here, Decepticons. Okay. Let's get a little bit further. Okay, so now I think this is the last one. No, I think there is another one. Yes, it is there. This is the last one. This is all, as I said before. I am fast forwarding it, so you don't need to see all of the steps. After finishing the division, then we will have the location. So here we will make another resource property. As I said, for every claim type there is a resource property. We have make the department, the title, the division, then we'll make a new resource property to the location. Here, okay, and then we will work with another resource property, and then we'll make the location. This is a computer property, okay? So for example, the DAC rule, if you need to have a certain department or a certain user with a certain department with a certain computer location to access a certain file, then this can be done. So here we will add the locations. It's also a lot of locations. So here let me tell you what I was doing. Here there is a lot of locations, so I don't need to type it manually. I tried to see if there is a PowerShell script to do it, but actually I didn't succeed. I will do it maybe in the part 3. So here I'm just fast forwarding it. This is my trials to try to work with a PowerShell script to create a resource property and add values to it, but actually I didn't succeed. So here, let's go there. Okay, so now I think, yes, here we go. Now we have the resource, the claim type, we did it, and the resource property, we did it. Okay, so all of them are now created. So as I said before, we have done until now the claim type and the resource type, the resource property. So now we will do a little thing before going further. We need to classify the files. So let's clarify this a little bit. What we mean by classifying the file. Classifying the files, when you have a file resource manager, So now there is an option called classification. Classification means that you have folders with files. You need to say, for example, that the IT folder will be classified as IT. What I mean by classification, if you run a report from the file resource manager, it will give you, for example, that I have, for example, 100 folders. Okay, all of them are to the IT department, belong to the IT department. Something like tagging it. Okay, you tag the folder. Okay, and then any file in this folder will take the tag of the folder. For example, if I tag the folder with IT, all of the files under the IT folder will be also tagged as an IT. For example, you have a folder, you tagged it as IT or classified as an IT, and tell him every folder and file created under this IT folder will be also tagged as IT. We'll see this now. Why are doing this? Because we will use this classification of files and folders through the DAC rules. How? For example, if we have tagged the folder of IT, then we will tell the DAC rule, for example, if I want to access the file classified as IT, or the folder as classified as IT, I need this classification, the user to use this classification. For example, I need the Karim Raouf user to access from the department of IT, as a title of IT personnel, to access the classified file or folder as an IT. We will see this now. We can classify folders by a lot of ways, okay, but just a minute. And by the way, we have now uh, classification, or we have in the DAC rule, we have made, uh, for example, the department. We have created the claim type department, title, and location, and division. All of this will be pushed to the file resource manager. What I mean by pushed, all of these properties will be available for me, so I can use it to classify the files. We will see that in a moment. Actually, a lot of things I have talked a lot, but if you see this practically, you will see what I mean. So now to push the claim types we did in the in the Active Directory Administrative Center, we need to do this. To push it to the file resource manager, we need to run a PowerShell script. This is update, as we see on the screen. Actually, when we see this also in practical, we will see how this will be uh, clarified, or all this will be combined and appearing as one piece, or appear for you as it's like bits and pieces, but at the end the whole view will appear after implementing it practically, or make it with a practical example on a folder. We will see that in a moment. So here I just open my console, and I will open, just we put the command. So after implementing this PowerShell script or no PowerShell command, if we open the file resource manager, we will see that in a moment. Okay, take good note, okay, because what we created before will appear here. Classification property, you will see that the department, division, and title allocation, all the claim types that we have created will appear here with all of the values in it. You will see the department, for example, here the departments cleaning, combat, construction, the departments that we have added before, all will appear. So as I said, we will use it to classify the files. We will see that in a moment also. So here the department and the division and the location and the title. So why we are doing this? Just to complete the DAC rules configuration. We need to classify the files, so we'll be able to complete the DAC rules configuration. So here I have a folder. We'll see that in a moment. Here is the, we will work with the department shares. Okay. For example, we will take a look. Classification. Here is the new tab. You will see that you have four tabs, four properties. You can just click any one of them and click the value that you need. Okay, we'll not do this manually. We will do a classification rule. As we will see now, I want to classify the folders. Okay, because I will use this after that in the DAC. We will see that in a moment. I will create a rule. I will call it classify IT files. Department IT files. Folder IT. Okay. I will do this for all of the departments I have. Okay, IT department. So here I will take the classification and to the scope which folder I need to classify or to make this rule apply to. Okay, so I will click on the data cube and the IT folder, the IT department folder. I need this to be applied to this folder. Classification, I will choose content classifier. This folder classifier, that means that it will classify the folder. For example, here the department, I need this folder to be marked as an IT. Again, if we can get a little back forward. So here, so just a minute. So here, just a minute. I will do this again. Sorry, I need to do it 1 second later. So here, there is some ways of classification. You can have content classifier. That means, for example, if you have any file that contains the word IT, this is content classifier. If he sees this file contains an IT, the word of IT or any name, he will classify it as an IT. But here I want to I want to classify, or the method of classification to be by folder. If a folder is named IT, then I need to put a value of IT to it. For example, here we will choose the folder classification. The property that I will use is the department, and then I need, if the rule, you will get it, if I want to apply this to the folder named IT, if the folder is named IT, so I need the value of the files and folders to be named as an IT. You will see that in a moment. Here, okay, we will tell him folder classifier. Okay, we choose a property. Here we need to, we'll see that also. We will see how this is done after it is evaluated, and tell him this is to re-evaluate if you have already folders or files created. Okay, you will see that in a moment. We see that as a practical solution, but first we have already done off all of the configuration and tell him okay. So now if I have any file created in the IT folder, it will be classified as an IT file. Let's see now. We will tell him to, there is something called run rules. Right click and run the rules. right click classification rule. As I said before, it's classifying, it's like tagging the files, okay? But this rule, I haven't created any files in the folder, so this classification rule will not work. You have to have a file in it, but the folder itself, it will be tagged as an IT. You will see that in a moment. As I said before, there is an additional tab that will appear if you right click the properties of the folder. It's a tab called classification. In this classification, you will see after working with this rule that the IT folder will be classified or will be tagged as IT. So now I'll make 9 rules, every one for my department. This is engineering department, and then we will think I can bypass this, okay? And just, okay, we'll show you the second one just to see how it is created. Now I will add the folder, and then it's D, and then the data cube, and then the engineering folder, okay? And then the classification type, I will use the folder classification. I tell him the folder will be tagged or named, tagged as an IT. Let's say it's tagged as an IT, as an engineering, okay? This is all of the values that we have previously done or created. So now we run the classification rules. So now we need to check to see if the folders are tagged or not. I'll just close this PowerShell. So now we can go to the folder, data cube, and then right click the folder of IT, properties, and classification. Still didn't work because we don't have any files created. I will show you that in a moment because I will create a text file and leave it there. Because now you have to have a file. It will not begin tag the folder until you have a file created in it. So now for example, I go to the IT folder and create a text file. Actually, the reports that is run from the file resource manager, here is the location of it. I am just seeing the result because actually after you run the classification rule, there is a report that it is created in this location. And for example, and if you choose the second option, not run in the background, wait for the classification rule, he will open the reports after finishing automatically, but I didn't use the second option. But here I will see the report. He will say that I have 0 files because there is no files in the folder. And actually it's simple, this classification file, it's not for folders. So the classifications of files is very important to complete the configuration of the DAC rules. This is very important because we will have something like a condition in the DAC rules, as I said before. And you will see that when we implement the DAC rule. So here we'll open, I will just create a text file, okay, and run the rule again, okay. I will type whatever, right. Properties, as we see now, if we see the classification, there is nothing, okay. After we implement the rule, this file will have in the classification tab, it will be classified as an IT or tagged as an IT. You will see this now. I just right click, okay, and tell him to run classification rules. Wait This is second one. After he finishes, he will open the report directly and tell him okay. So now it will take some time, and now he will open the report. You will see that we have one file tagged or classified. So we will go again to check the file itself and the classification. The classification tab, we will see that this file will be tagged as an IT. Actually, you can say it's the department will be an IT. You can choose the values manually if you like, but you can, if you have a lot of files, you have to make it by classification rules. So now after seeing how this is done, we need to do this for the rest of the classification or the rest of the department shares. Okay, just a minute. I think I will go back to the administrative center, Active Directory Administrative Center. So now we have done the classification. So now we will complete. Sorry, no, again I will create the class. Yes, we will do 9, as I said, 9 classifications. Okay, we'll just fast forward it for every department. We have for the 9 departments medic, and all of them are done with the same configuration. Okay, I have still medic security ship squad. So now I think there is 2 missing. No, I think all of them is 1, 2, 3, 8. It's 9. So after we finish the classification, we will get back to our administrative Active Directory Administrative Center to complete the DAC rules. As we said, we will revise again. We have done the claim types, division, title, location, department, and then we have done the resource property, creation, division, department, division, title, location. After that, we'll begin making the DAC rule itself. The condition which this DAC rule will work with. We'll see that in a moment. As we said, claim type and then resource type, and then we will make the central access rule. Okay, there is an option here I need to clarify. Just a minute. Here the resource by steps. The claim type, as I said before, we will make department, title, or we choose department, title, division, location, and then in the resource properties we see that the department is already there, so the missing we will create title, location, and then division. After that, logically we will make central. This is the rule, we will create the rule, but there is an option called resource property list. If you have more than one file server, so here you will tell him the server name or all of the file server's name, file server role or file server share name. For example, here in my domain I have already one file server role server, so I don't need to use it, but you have more than one, so we need to specify that in the resource property lists. So I don't have, so we'll skip this one. After that we'll make the access rule. Here we will make the condition, or we'll specify what we need from the DAC rule to do. So just a minute, we'll pause, complete. New central access rule. So here we will, for example, limit access to the IT. For example, we will make 9 DAC rules, okay, everyone for each department. For example, I need access IT documents. So here we'll tell him edit resources. Here is the rule. We'll add a condition. The resource, the folder, the department equals to value IT. So here I am specifying the rule. Okay, I need the resource, the folder. To access, you have to be from the IT department. So if this rule is applied and he's from the IT department, so give him the following rights. Actually, this is NTFS permission. So if he's from the IT, then I need him. He needs to be from the IT as a department and as a group. Okay. Okay, I will give him, he will have modify, but I am the IT, I will make for control. So if he is from the, he is the department IT in the Active Directory attributes or properties, and if he is from this, then I will give the folder, I will put an NTFS permission on the folder for the IT to be, to give it full control. Let's specify this for a moment. For example, what I am saying here, to access the IT department, if I am from the IT department, so he will begin putting permissions or will apply permissions on the file or folder I'm trying to access. So basically, if I am from the IT department, for sure I will be in the IT group. So I will give this this personnel with the department IT property in the Active Directory. I will give his group or the group he is a member of a full control to the folder. For example, if it's from the engineering, I will also give it modify. As an IT, for sure I have full control. But I am from the engineering, then I will give him uh, modify. We will see this now in the engineering section, the engineering rule. Here I will make it as for medical, for example. So here we'll edit, and here is the condition. The resource department will be equal to medical. Okay, and then if this apply, I will use the permission. I will give him permission if this rule is applied, or this, the condition is successful, or it is implemented, or it is true. So I will give the group of the medical that this member is a part of it. I will not give the user itself, because when we work in an Active Directory, we work with groups, not with users. Okay, so I'll make modify. Okay, here we can make another thing. Here I am specifying that, by the way, if I didn't make this condition, I said before that if the user is in the, for example, engineering, if the Active Directory department attribute is engineering, then I will give also on medic, I will give the medic group modify permission on the folder. But for that he didn't know that this, until now, this also how the Active Directory will know that this user is from this group. So we'll add another condition saying that this user should be a member of the group of TR medic. Okay, so as I said, if we didn't add this condition, so still the rule will not be applied, because this user, the DAC rule will not know if he is a member of the medic group or not. I have already, as I said before, the attribute is correct. He is from the engineering. His attribute in department Active Directory attribute, it is engineering or medical, but still, and I am giving, as I said, I will work on a group, not a user permission. So I will give the group of medic, which is the user is member of. I will give it modify, but the DAC rule will not know if he is a member or not. So I need to add another condition. In this user, in this group, member of, this have to be the group of TR medic. You will see that in a moment. Okay, we will add. Here I add a condition. So here we are putting that the user have to be have department attribute to be medic. Okay, and then I will give the group of medic modify, and then to add another condition that this user should be a member of medic group. And actually we'll do this in all of the departments here. As I said, I am just revising. So here we will add
that this group, that the user is a member of this group. Okay, I will add the, I'm revising it. Okay, we'll add the value. So I then will add TR medic group. So if the user is a member of this group, then this rule will apply. Okay, so now we have set the principal, set the group. Okay, we will do this. Okay, I will just and then create another DAC rule. Okay, so now we have this. I need to do this for the IT department as well. Okay, so I will turn back to the IT, yes, and then properties, and then in the permissions I will click on allow for the IT for control and then edit. Then we'll add a condition that the user should be a member of the TR IT group. So we will do this with a new one. We will begin with a new one so we can explain it further. So here I will make another access rule for the engineering. Okay, so here it will be access engineering, for example, engineering construction. Okay, here we will choose the resource. Okay, here is the name and the description, and edit. We will tell him I need to add a condition. Okay, the resource, the folder, to access the folder if the department Active Directory attribute is construction. And if this is done or it is true, then I need to give the group of tr underscore construction a modify permission, and also a condition will be added here that this user should be a member of construction group. So we have two conditions: the Active Directory attribute should be construction, and the user should be a member of the construction group for this rule to apply. I think this is now clear. We repeat this process for the 9 departments that we have. Okay, well, this is done with all of the departments. Okay, then down for the engineering and blah blah blah. Let's get it a little bit further. Okay, I think it's now finished. Just a minute. Then this is the last one. So by steps we did the claim type, and then we did the resource properties, and then we did the access rules. Here is all of the rules. Then at the end we will make the central access policy. Right click and then new central access policy. Here we will create 9 access central access policy, and we will choose the policies that we did. For example, let's have access document ship crew, and then we tell him add. Here we have all of the access rules done. Okay, because this will be pushed after that to the file server. Okay, so here we will see that in a moment how this will be in effect, but bear with me. We'll do for every access rule. We'll make for every access rule make an access rule. We'll make an access policy. Okay, for here is just for the. We'll see that how this will be done for the IT. Copy, and then we will choose the policy that we have already created. Okay, so we have for every access rule there is an access policy. Okay, on this. Okay, access, this also will be repeated, so we need to fast forward it. Okay, so here we will have 9 access policies. Just a minute. I think this is the last one. Okay, so here this is the last one. After that, then we have sorry we have 9 central access rule with attached to 9 central access policy. Okay, you will see why this is done in a moment. If you open here, we have 9 access policy, central access policy, equivalent to 9 central access rule. Okay, so after that we will go to the file server role server, which is the second domain controller, and we'll make a group policy update. We will see that in a moment why we did the group policy update. There is a group policy that need to be changed and pushed to the file server role. Okay, role server to be in effect. We will see that in a moment. So now we will open, we'll make us also we'll make group policy update in both servers. Okay, the first domain controller or second domain controller. So now we will edit the domain controller group policy and activate the central access policy rule. We will see that in a moment. And you see why we need this to be done. Okay, we will open the transformers console. This will be clear when you see it practical, because if I'm talking about it, will not be clear. It's more, it will practically will appear if we see it by our own eyes. Okay, so here is the domain controllers policy. Here is where we activated the DAC rule in the first place, if you all remember. Actually, this should be done only to the file server role. This policy should be activated on the file server role only, but I am doing it to the default domain controller. So you will see why we're doing this. Okay, here is the option that we need to activate. It's called central application control. No, it's not application control policy. It's file system, under file system, central access policy. Here we will push all of the policies that we have done. It will be here. We tell him manage. Okay, as I said before, here I am correcting my mistake. I will not put it in the domain controller, default domain controller. I'll put it in the domain controllers only. I need this policy only to be pushed to the file server role only. Okay. So here we will open security setting, and then we will open the file system central and then manage, right click and manage. Okay, and then we will add all of the policies, central policies that we have created. We will add all of them. We will add all of the policies, and after we make group policy update on the file server role, these policies will appear, and we will see why we need them to appear. We'll update the group policy on the domain controller and on the file server role. So now, after we have done this, when we right click on the folder or the file, sorry, we will see that we have in the security, just a minute, if you click any file and see the security advanced, and then central policy will appear. Here we will choose the policy we need to apply. For example, if for the but it will not be done on a file basis, it will be done on a folder basis. We'll see that in a moment. Example is the cleaning folder, and then properties, and then security, and then advanced, and then central policy. We will choose the policy of the cleaning, central policy of the cleaning. We will open the menu. We will open or apply the cleaning policy for this folder and subfolders. So this will apply if anyone, the department Active Directory attribute is cleaning and he is a member of the cleaning group, so he will access this folder. So here we'll do this for every folder. This central policy tab will not appear if the group policy is not activated, the one that we did a couple of seconds ago, the central policy group policy that we have done for the file server role, or by editing the domain controllers group policy. So now we will do this for all of the folders. For example, here for the construction we will open advanced and central policy, and then we will change and check how, select the construction, apply and OK. So we'll do this for all of the departments. I can bypass this in a moment. Sorry, it's repeated one. So here so basically after that we will, after finishing, we need to test these users. We can do this by two ways. One, through the effective access tab, and actually I will do, it's not enough, but in part 3 of the video I will make a workstation and connect it to the domain, and then we will begin testing this DAC rules. But here, for example, I need to test the user of, for example, this user is from, I don't know which membership he is from. Okay, so here we are just and selecting the computer. If you have the DAC rule configured to access a certain computer, then you will see if you have a user claim. This means that you will work with the department or division or title. If you have a device claim, then you will work with the location. So for example, I am saying that this user is the department of IT, for example. So here we will see this user, the properties of the user, which department he is from. I think he is, yes, Ambio minus. We will see he is a member of IT. So he's from the department of IT. And we'll get another user as a member of IT. Also, we need another one from a different department. For example, Bigfoot. Bigfoot is from engineering department. Okay. So we will go and select the user from the engineering department, and we're using the central access policy of the IT. So anyone except the IT will have access to this department. Okay. And so you are specifying the group is the name and the group, and the user claim, it's the department engineering. We will use the engineering claim, type claim, as our rule. Okay, so we'll see now that he doesn't have any access because the one that's used is the IT one, not the department, because we are on DataCube IT. So we are working, if we're working with the DAC rule of engineering, if you're giving him the engineering, he doesn't have any access. I think also this will appear more clearly when we are working with part 3 of the video. We will begin implementing this live. So I think we will do another. For example, if I've changed the title to IT, I give the department, change the department of IT. So here, if you try to access the folder again, it will be denied. Why? Because we have two conditions. The user have to be, the title have to be IT, and he have to be a member of the group of IT. So this also will not work. So if in any reason you have mistaken by moving, for example, if you move the group, if you move the user from the IT group, you move a user from the engineering group to the IT group, okay? And one will ask, if I moved the user from the engineering to the IT, he will have access? No, he will not have access, because his department Active Directory attribute is still engineering. If you have to change both so he can access the folder. So this is a good control, more restrictive control. As I said before, we'll see that in the part 3 of the video. The next video, you will see how this is implemented. So mainly, as I said before, you have to change both, so the DAC rule will not allow him, even if you put him, for example, the more you put, for example, one from the engineering group to the IT group, and still you didn't change his attribute in the Active Directory, or the department in the Active Directory, you didn't change it from engineering to IT, he will not give you an access. And as I said before, it works with conjunction with the NTFS permissions and share, and the more restrictive will work. So this is the more restrictive, the DAC will be the more restrictive one. So now we will see if I tell him that this group is a member of the IT group, and the user claim will be the department, or the type of claim we will use is the department, and use it an IT. So if I view the access, he will give you that he have full access. Not still, I didn't give him the member. Okay, you have to be a member. So I have to identify the group, so he can check all of the conditions at once. Okay, so you will see that yes, he have a full access. So now this video is finished. As I said before, I will clarify more for the DAC rules and for the Active Directory Right Management Service in the part 3 of the video, so we can see more clearly how all of this is implemented and it's working. So until I see you next video, goodbye for now.